Hello there and welcome to today's Crown Chakra yoga class. So hopefully you have been with me for all the previous chakra yoga classes and this is the final one, this is the culmination. Alright, so the crown chakra, crown of our head, it represents the end of the rainbow, the final stage in spiritual enlightenment. So we're going to be doing a lot of poses today that focus on the crown of the head, touching it down, balancing on it, and so forth. So for props, you're going to need a yoga mat. You'll need some socks or paper plates or something that you can slide on. You'll need 2 to 3 yoga blocks. It's always a good idea to have a yoga strap, although you might not need it. And then you will need access to a wall because we're going to be kicking up to handstand. All right, so get everything together and I will meet you back on the mat. Okay, so we're starting down on our mats and you've got 2 to 3 yoga blocks set up behind you. And these are going to be hitting just about where your bra strap would be, so just under the shoulder blades. And then I want you to try and get your hips really close to it. So we don't want to be far, lots of space. You want to bend at the knees and then just walk the feet in so that you can really arch the spine and bring the hips nice and close to the blocks. From there, you're going to reach the arms overhead and almost try and reach the crown of the head down to the floor. If it doesn't touch, that's absolutely fine. If you feel more comfortable having a touch, then you can just drop down to 2 yoga blocks. So this is what I would call a supported fish position. So you've got your heart open, your throat open, crown of the head is reaching down towards the mat. And also a deep shoulder stretch. So we're going to come back to this position unsupported a little further on in the class. So just enjoy the sensation of being supported by the blocks. You can also start to straighten the legs, bringing those hips as close as possible and just relax. Breathe. Open the heart. Stretch the throat. Lengthen the arms. And then bending the legs again, we're going to inhale to prepare. Find your right leg and exhale. You're going to crunch that leg up, bringing my shoulders up in line with the blocks, knee towards the chest. Inhale back down, arching the spine. Exhale, tabletop, hips in line with shoulders. Exhale, arch. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, last one here, exhale, good, and inhale brings you back down. Just readjust if you feel like you've knocked the blocks a little bit skewed. Just readjust, bring the hips closer. We're going to do other side. So inhale to prepare, find the left leg. Exhale, crunch it up. Hips are in line with knee, with shoulder. Chest comes in towards the face. Inhale back down to an arch. Relax the neck. Exhale, engage the neck. So find those moments to relax. Otherwise, you're going to get very tired and burn out too quickly. Inhale, release everything. Exhale, engage. 3 more here. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. And last one. Inhale. Exhale. Good. And then coming down, push yourself up from the blocks. You can move the blocks to the side for now. We don't need them right at this moment. We're going to go into a supported fish, but with our elbows this time. So lie down on the mat. Legs can be bent. I want you to rest your elbows. You're going to bend them, and then you're just going to arch the spine again and rest the crown of the head onto the mat. So you are still supported because your elbows are supporting you. Point the toes, and I want you to first straighten the legs, point the toes, and then bend and hug the knees up in towards the chest. And straighten, and bend. Good. So just getting used to working the legs separate from the upper body in this position. 3 more here. Push those elbows into the floor. Try and be light on the crown of the head, not heavy. So really using the strength in the arms and the shoulders as opposed to just crunching into the neck. Good. All right, keep the legs bent. You're up on your toes, so resting the tippy point of your toe on the floor. Find your right leg, straighten it up to the ceiling, and we're just going to bicycle. Good. If this is too much for you, you can just come down and rest your head and just have your hands palms into the mat, and we're just doing normal single leg bicycles. All right, you can even place the other foot flat on the floor if it's all too much. Otherwise, you're up on the tippy toe, and then you're up in your supported fish, bicycling the right leg. So if you need to swap in and out of these 2 positions, then that's what you do. Last one here. Good. Switch legs. Left leg goes up and bicycle. So the whole idea is to gain the body awareness to move your legs in a position where you're almost upside down and everything feels quite disjointed. Good. If you need to take a break and come off the head, then that's what you do. Last one. All right, and now both legs reach up to the sky, double bicycle, coming down, up to the sky and down. So I'm very light on the crown of my head, and my elbows are working quite hard into the mat. Good, let's reverse that. So legs lengthen, lift up and bend. And I'm not lifting my legs very high. You're just going about 45 degrees off the mat. Last one. Good. All right, take a moment. Relax everything. Now, whether you did that on the crown of your head or not, I do want you to try and give fish a go. So we're going to come back onto the crown of our head, use your elbows, and just see how that feels. If it feels good, see if you can lengthen the legs. If that feels good, you lift one leg up 45 degrees and then the other. Squeeze the legs together. And if that feels good, maintain the arch and lift the arms up 45 degrees. So this is your full fish position, resting on the crown of your head. Bend the legs, bend the elbows, and just slide to come out of all of that. All right, well done. So fish is normally a pose that we end off with after a plow or a deep forward fold, but because we're focusing on that crown chakra, it's a great one to get started. So right at the beginning of the practice, you've already got the sensation of weight pressing into the crown of the head to activate that chakra. All right, let's do some rolling like a ball. This one's really fun. You're going to grab underneath your knees, and we're just going to roll backwards and forwards. So what we're trying to do here is just warm up the back. Maybe your toes touch down behind you, maybe they don't. Keeping a nice curve in my spine. Good. Last one. Good, and switching it up slightly into seal tap. So you're butterflying your legs, rolling back, tapped up, and roll forward. Roll back, tap the toes twice, and roll forward. Good. And just get comfortable with this rolling position because we are going to be coming back to it many times. Good. 2 more. Tap, tap. And last one. It's quite fun. All right, okay. So now we're going to have our legs nice and straight out in front of us. And just make sure that you've got enough space behind you because we're going to be rolling our legs back behind us. So first of all, I just want you to lean forward and just rock the hips backwards and forwards. So this is a bit of hamstring work, and if this is your first bit of movement for the day, then those hamstrings might be feeling a bit tight. So slowly getting lower over the legs as you rock the hips back and forward, just kind of gliding them like so. If you want, you can start to flex the feet, just warming up in the calves. And then maybe hold the flex and again continue with those little hip rocks. Maybe you can get even lower towards your legs. Good. And then we're just going to roll up to the spine and arch down. And roll up. So I'm keeping my legs quite engaged. Kneecaps are pulled up. Quads are flexed. Good. Warming up the spine as well. And let's make that a little bigger. So let's take the arms all the way up. And as we roll forward, we point the toes. And roll up and forward. And rolling up and forward. Good. And up and forward. And up and forward. Okay. All right, so we're going to be rolling back. So from a forward bend, we're going to be coming up, rolling back, taking the legs back behind you and tapping them on the floor. Now find this position, and then I want you to swivel the legs over to your right shoulder. Good, and then bringing them back, coming up and rolling forward. And let's do to the left. So legs come straight up and over to the left. And then rolling up, so I'm keeping my legs straight the whole time. Rolling like a ball over the right shoulder and forward bend and over the left shoulder. And if the feet don't touch down, that's okay. You just try and get them closer and closer each time. So I'm using my hands to help push my weight over. So hands, palms into the mat, push the hips over. Good. And forward. One more each side. And then we take it up a notch. Good. To the left. And up. Okay. Walk yourself forward. And this is where we need the socks. So I'm now going to be rolling all the way over my right shoulder and using my hands out to the side of me to help me get my weight over. But I'm not going to be lying down completely. So it looks like this. We roll over. Adjust your hands. Roll over the shoulder. And then push yourself back up and roll forward. Other side, to the left, adjusting the hand, pushing over the shoulder, and then lifting the hips up and rolling again. So I'm getting my neck out the way. So if I'm going to the right, I roll over my right ear. I keep my right ear to the ground. I tuck my neck, I lift my hips up, and then I roll forward. And again to the left, over the left ear. Use my hips and my hands to help me. Good. And if you can't get this, just go back to tapping the feet as we did before. Or just tapping them straight back behind you in the middle. So don't worry too much if you can't get it 100%. And let's do one more each side. Last one. Good. All right, so from here you can actually remove your socks. You don't need them anymore. And hopefully you're feeling nice and warm. So we're going to be doing a similar thing, except now instead of having our legs tap back behind us closed, we're going to open them nice and wide. So forward fold, roll back, open the legs wide and go over your right shoulder. Good, so now you're in a wide-legged forward fold. I'm going to bring my right ear down to the mat, look underneath back behind me and roll down onto my right shoulder and come forward. Okay, over the left, wide legs, push over my left ear and you're in a wide-legged forward fold. Left ear down to the mat, left arm behind you, tuck, look underneath my legs and roll forward. So you might not go 100% straight, but it's okay, just have fun with it. So let's do a couple of those. Wide-legged and forward fold and wide legs. And I'm definitely going skew to the left. Good. One more each side. And it's about getting the crown of your head and your shoulder and your ear really low to the mat. And that's going to help you. Good. Let's do one more to the right and stay in your wide-legged forward fold and just kind of even yourself out. All right. So here we are in our wide-legged forward fold. You're going to inhale. If you need to have blocks underneath your hands, then go and grab them. Exhale. Hinge at the hips, come all the way down. Maybe hands come back behind you. Maybe you can round your body and pull it through to see underneath you. Good. Hold it there. Stretch those legs, lock out the knees. I'm going to inhale and I'm going to bring my forehead down towards the mat. So just stretching with a straight, flat back this time. Good. Maybe you want to stand on your heels and then press the crown of your head down to the mat. So in the previous class we did the third eye chakra, so we pressed our forehead down to the mat, but this time we're going to press our crown to the mat. So a little bit closer to go. So if it's easy for you, bring the legs closer together, stretching forward, tapping the crown down to the mat. Lock out those knees, roll the weight forward into the big toes. Breathe, shoulders away from the ears. Good, and then slowly come out of that. All right, so come towards the middle of your mat. If you've got a headstand, then that's what we're going to do. If you're still working on it, you can just stay in the forward bend, or you're welcome to pull your mat up to a wall and practice what we're doing against a wall. So we're going to do a tripod headstand. So coming down into the crown of the head, that's the point of the triangle, and then the hands are the 2 points, the other 2 points. So you don't want your hands in line with your head. You want them forward of your head in line with your feet. And then from there, you're going to lift up, get the weight into your head, be really light on the feet. And then we're going to lift up into a straddle. Good. Hold it there. If this feels good, you can straighten the legs for a full headstand. On the crown, really using your hands to support you and balance you. And we're just going to hold it there for a couple of breaths. Really visualizing the color violet or purple at the crown of your head, a bright light being switched on. Good. And then slowly open through straddle, nice and wide, and then hinge at the hips and tuck down. Good, and just take a moment to kind of reset after being upside down. All right, so coming back to your mat, we're going to be in a down dog now, and just walk out that down dog. Good. And hold it there. Good. So just pressing the heart through the arms. We want a slight tilt in the pelvis. So we want to almost round at the lower back, but then open at the upper back. And just pull the heart down through the arms to open up the shoulders. Good. All right, opening the legs to hip width apart. We're going to crouch down and then come forward into plank. So crouch down nice and low and forward into plank. Good. Just a couple of these. So what we're doing is we're warming up the wrists, getting used to having weight in the shoulders, bearing all our weight in our hands and over the wrists, because we're going to be doing some handstand prep. Good. 3 more here. 2. Last one. Good. Hold your down dog. All right, what we're going to be doing is taking a deep bend and then just hopping up and come back to a bend. So what I'm trying to do is get my hips over my head and my hands. If this feels good, you can start landing on the tops of your feet with nice bent legs, but hovering those knees. So jump up and land. Jump up and land. If it's too tiring, you go back to being on your tippy toes. So just see where you're at. Let's go for 5 of these. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. All right, take a moment, walk it out. Down dog, active rest. So we're going to be doing some monkey hops next. So you want to make your down dog smaller. You're going to crouch down, and I want you to swivel to the right. Now you can either keep your left leg on the floor, but keep the hip lifted. Right elbow comes to right knee, or you can keep your foot lifted off the ground. Back into a crouch and change to the other side. Crouch. Yes, good. Make sure to breathe. These are pretty tiring. Even though it seems like a simple movement, it definitely gets the heart pumping and the blood flowing. Good. This is phase 1. We're still going to be hopping up into the air in just a sec. Good. 3, 2, and 1. All right, phase 2 is that we don't lift up the hands. We bring the foot out to the side, and then we hop up. Foot to the side, hop up. And what we're trying to do is get our hips up over our hands, and that becomes somewhat of a rest. The more you can hop up. Don't worry about making a beautiful shape upside down. We're going to come to that later. Good. Couple more. I'm right there with you. Burning. Good. Get those hips low. We're almost there. One more each side. You got it. Last one. And relax. So you can come to all fours. You can come into a child's pose. You can come into a down dog. Whatever you need. Just find a moment to breathe. So just keep walking it out and breathe. Release all that tension. All right, now for the next part, I would recommend moving your mat up right by a wall so that we can practice this next part without fear of falling over. Now, if you are new to kicking up to handstand, then please just take your time and be kind to yourself. The fear of kicking up into handstand is a barrier that needs to be broken through, which normally requires a lot of repetition or a workshop or some kind of intensive. So in one class, if you've never done it before, you might not get it, but don't worry, just practice these hop-ups as we've done as best as you can and keep working at it against a wall. All right, so we're gonna go into a tuck-up position. So this is basically a tuck, upside down. That's what it looks like. So knees are very close to the chest, feet are very close to the hips. It's not open like this. It's nice and closed. Hands are by the ears. We're going to take that same position upside down and then come back into a down dog. So it's quite nice to do it against a wall because then you don't have this fear of falling over. You can always just land your hips against the wall or your feet against the wall. If you've got windows like me, then please be very careful, go lightly. All right, so you don't want your hands too close to the wall, about 1 to 2 paces away. And then you're going to make your down dog nice and small. And then we're just going to bend nice and deep into the knees and come into a tuck and back down. And just practice that tuck up position. And you want to try and get the hips over the hands so you get a bit of a hover. Good. And just keep practicing it. And maybe you get a nice hover like I've got. And the more you practice it, the lighter you feel on your hands. You also want to practice going down with as much care as you did going up. So don't just drop down out of your tuck. Try and really fold out of it nice and tight. Keep the knees into the chest and keep the feet really close to the bum because you're still building strength on the descent. All right, so let's go for 5 more like that. And if you do need to, if you want to take a break, but work on your tuck, you can just have your feet against the wall and hold that tuck position without coming down. All right, so let's do 5 more of these. Dropping down and tucking up. And just go in your own time. Maybe you get a hover. Good. And let's hold the last one against the wall. Oopsie. Good, so just really pushing the floor away from you. And you can bring one knee in to the chest, the other one against the wall, and then switch it out. And then go for both, and slowly come down. And relax, good. Just roll out the shoulders, roll out the wrists. So being upside down, definitely triggers the crown chakra to be open. It's the closest to the energy of the earth that the crown is when we're upside down. So just kind of visualizing that connection between the crown of your head and the earth beneath you as you go upside down. Imagine it as roots connecting you and making you feel strong and in sync with the world. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to come into a down dog, lifting the right leg up into down dog splits, and just take a moment to feel the split position. Maybe you need to do some knee circles to just open up the hips, or maybe you just need to do some small pulses, rise up and down on the bottom foot. Whatever you need to do to kind of feel strong and stable, keep the legs nice and firm. And we're just going to be doing little hops up. So you're keeping your leg in the split position. And we're just trying to, again, bring the hips over the hands. Maybe you get a little hover. Maybe you need to touch the wall with your other foot. It's okay. Wherever you're at, just getting used to the sensation of one-legged hop-ups. Good. And maybe you hold the last one. And then when we come down, we're going to do a switch kick. We'll do a couple of switch kicks. So just kicking your legs, changing them in the air. And again, and again, and again. And last time, you should have your left leg up now. So again, make your down dog wider. Maybe you do your knee circles to open up the left hip. Little pulses on the left. Rise and lower on the right foot. Just whatever you need to kind of activate that down dog splits. And then shorten the stance and little hops up. Landing nice and softly on the right foot. Aiming to get a little hover. Keep the legs nice and strong. I find that that really helps with activating all the muscles in the handstand. If the legs are floppy, the handstand is floppy. Just keep them nice and engaged. Quads lifted, kneecaps pulled up, feet pointed. And maybe you stop on the last one, and then you slowly come down. Good, and let's come down. Let's take a moment. You can go into a wide-legged child's pose. Maybe you need to stretch out your neck. Just do what you need to, because we're going to go into a handstand against the wall next, and we're going to try and hold it. We're going to try and hold it for 20 seconds. If you want to hold it longer, you're more than welcome to. And if you need to come down, then that's what you do. Kick up again straight away. So take a moment, roll out the wrists. And what's great about handstands is that it builds up a lot of heat and intensity in the body, but it's fun. So although you're feeling tired, you're also feeling energized, which is why I really love handstands. Okay, so we're going to kick up. And if this is still, your first time doing this, be very gentle and careful with the wall or the window behind you. Just go up slowly. If you need to kind of walk yourself up one leg at a time, then that's what you do if you're not confident yet with your kick up. And come down whenever you need to rest. All right. So you can kick up with one leg or both legs. You can go through a tuck if you want. And then straighten the legs, push the floor away from you, and let's just hold it. So keeping the legs nice and locked out, and you want to try and take any curve out of the lower back, which is a bit hard with your legs back behind you. Maybe you can look underneath your arms instead of down. Try and suck the rib cage in, push the floor away from you, so shoulders hug up to the ears. Good. Hold it there. I'd say we have about 10 seconds left, so just do your best. And then remember, when we come out, you're going to come out with control. So either one leg at a time or through a tuck, but just do it with control. I'm going to try and pike down. Good. All right, walk it out and come down. Okay. So next we're going to go into a scorpion against the wall. So for this one, we do need to be a little bit further away from the wall. And the further you go, the more your back has to bend. So if your back's not feeling very warm, then don't go too far away. And if you have a nice bendy back, then you almost want to get a full leg pace. So like a split, from foot to hip. So you could almost have your hands halfway down your mat. But just kind of start out closer, and then you can always adjust as you go along. So we're going to try and have 2 legs straight, and then we're going to try and bend the feet to touch the head. All right, so I'm starting, I'd say about half a leg's distance away from the wall, and I'm going to just kick up into handstand, nice and light. And then from there, you're rounding or arching the back and lifting the head up so that you're in a back bend, pushing the floor away from you, stretching the legs. Good. And then you can start to bend the legs, bend at the knees. And the more you can arch your back and look up, the more stable this is going to feel. So you can try and balance with one toe on the wall and then the other. You can try and hover both, see what that feels like. Knowing the wall is right there to catch you. And then gently coming down. Good, and rolling it out. So the thing about these postures is that they are more advanced, and sometimes we think that we can't even try them if we haven't been doing yoga for 10 years or something. But that's not true. You can always try something, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to go into it with a sense of fun and adventure and see what happens. And as long as you feel safe, and slowly build strength towards a pose, and you might find that you actually really like doing these kinds of poses, and so it sends your practice off to a whole different trajectory than if you just would have never tried it because you didn't think that you were advanced enough. So always give these things a go and work within your limitations. Listen to your body. If something feels really bad, then just come out of it straight away. Okay, so now we're going to do forearm stand against the wall. So if you have a really good forearm stand, then you can obviously bring your mat away from the wall. I'll be joining you for that in just a moment. But a nice way to practice forearm stand is to have a block and bring your elbows next to the block. So you can see my fingertips are touching the wall. And then what we're going to do is we're going to lift one leg up and pick up the other leg, and you're kind of squeezing the block. And you're just balancing there. If you like, you can try a variation where one leg is bent, and like more of a scorpion, maybe both legs. I'm a bit close to the wall for that, but you can always try. Bring the knees to the wall. And hold it there. Coming back. Push those forearms into the wall. And come down. You can also try holding the block in your hands. So instead of your hands flat on the ground, they're facing this way. So maybe do a second set like that. Otherwise, you can take a variation. I really like a split variation. It's quite easy to balance in that position. So you'd come halfway down your mat. You'd set up, one leg up, and slowly bringing my hips forward until I find my balance in my split. And from there you can do any variation you like. So a double stag is really nice. Balance. Back to splits. You can try and rotate through a straddle. Remember to keep the back arched as you go through your straddle. To the other side. Whoops. And maybe a scorpion. Push the floor away from you. Bend the knees. And when you're ready, coming out of that. And slowly rolling up. Good. All right, so just shake everything out, roll it out. Really, really well done. If you've just been trying these poses for the first time, then good for you for being so brave and so open. All right, the final thing that we're going to do before we start winding it down is we're going to do a headstand, traditional way, supported by our hands. So if you are comfortable with this, you can do it away from the wall. I'm going to show you how to set it up by the wall. So again, you've got your fingers, just the fingertips touching the wall. That's a good distance. And then you want to cross at the elbows and tap your shoulders. And then that's how far away your elbows are from each other. And then you want to make a little cradle that your head is going to go inside, up on the toes, and then push into down dog on the crown of your head. So you've really got your elbows pushing into the wall. It's a bit like supported fish. So you're not crunching in the neck. You don't want to be kind of collapsing. You want to push the forearms into the floor to make a lot of space for your neck so that it feels really, really light. So again, measuring that distance, clasp the fingertips and place the crown of the head inside, push the elbows into the floor, and then you can lift one leg up and then the other, and you can be in a headstand against the wall. And we're going to try and hold it. If you are more advanced, then what we can try and do is lift up through a pike position away from the wall. So getting the weight over, pushing down and lifting those legs up through a pike, nice and controlled. Good, and just holding it there. Breathe, pushing those elbows into the floor, staying nice and light on the head. Visualizing that violet color. Oops. So if you've come out of it, just go back in again. And then trying to come out the way that you did. So if you did go through a pike, you want to try and lower again through a pike. Good, and then slowly rolling up. Roll out the shoulders. And they say it's really good to hold a headstand for a minute every single day. It keeps you young, it brings a rush of blood to the face, prevents wrinkles, and just keeps things playful. So something to add into your practice, I would advise. All right, okay. So we're just going to start to wind down now. So just bringing yourself onto the mats, kind of like how we started. We're going to go into a bridge pose just to release the spine. So inhale to prepare and exhale, roll up. So pushing those hips up to the ceiling. Gentle squeeze between the knees so they don't flay open apart. Hold it there. Breathe. And then slowly rolling down. And we're going to do a bridge just to end off. So hands flip back towards the ears. Now the first step is to rise up onto the crown of your head, which we've been doing a lot, and then to straighten the arms. So inhale, exhale to the crown of the head, and if that feels good, pushing up into your bridge, maybe walking your hands a bit closer, and just holding your bridge for as long as you need to. If you need to come down and come back up, we're going to do 3 sets, so coming all the way down, taking a moment to breathe. Exhale, second set. Inhale, exhale, push straight up or go through the crown of your head. Just find your wheel, hold it there. If you like, you can take a variation. I like to grab one of my ankles at the back, maybe walk your legs a bit closer, pop up onto the heels, grab an ankle, switch to the other side, and come down. Third set, inhale, Inhale and exhale. Third set, any variation that you want. Trying to make that back bend nice and deep. So this is your moment to play. You've warmed up your body. You can certainly play. Do what feels good for you. Open up that heart. And then slowly coming back down. Good. Take a moment. Open the legs into butterfly. Push the hips away from you. Lock out the arms. A bit of spinal traction. Breathe. You can have one hand on your heart, one hand on your lower abdomen. Close your eyes. And just congratulate yourself for a beautiful class, for showing up, getting onto your mat, and honoring your body. Take your left leg and flop it over to the right for a spine twist. Both legs bent and over to the right. Keep breathing in the color violet. Breathe it into your whole body. Imagine it flowing in through the crown of your head and flooding your entire body down to your tiptoes. Inhale, open one leg and then the other to the other side. Gently release. Spine twist. So make sure this is your first chakra class to check out all the other. There are 6 of them. The base chakra, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and crown chakra. We've got a yoga class for each of them, focusing on different areas of the body, different goals, different functions. Good. Inhale, hug the knees into the chest. And exhale, lengthen out the body, stretch arms and legs far apart, and then come into your final resting pose, Shavasana. Close your eyes. Take as long as you want here, but try and stay for at least 2 minutes. Deep breathing, purple breathing. Thank you so much for practicing with me today, and I will see you in our next workout. Namaste.